I do want to make a disclaimer that everything that I talk about in this video is not paid whatsoever. These are my genuine opinions, and these are genuine resources that I used on my journey. What is up, fam? It is Shar, and welcome to Law and Living Color, where I provide quick tips and experiences on the law school process and legal field as a person of color. So I wanted to talk about some of the resources that I used on my LSAT and law school application journey, and hopefully some of those resources work out for y'all as well. First resource that I wanted to talk about is actually what I still use to this day to get updates on the law school cycle is Reddit. Yeah, just simply Reddit. The couple that I use, the subreddits that I use are pretty much URM, school admissions, and the law school admissions. The link will be in the description below. But essentially, these subreddits have given me so much advice, so much helpful motivation in my process, and you pretty much see that you're not the only one in this. I hope my videos have told you you're not the only one in this, but Reddit really is a community where you can talk about and ask questions about what to do. So Reddit has been a very helpful tool for me. They actually have a law school Reddit, which is comprised of law students, and currently what they're going through. They tend to vent a lot about amongst themselves, but as someone who's going into law school, it's pretty cool to like get a sense of what they do on a day-to-day, and some of their woes and what they go through. So, and they also have a designated day where 0Ls, so people that are applying to law school, can ask them questions about what law school is like, about what they did during their process. So it's a really cool subreddit, and Reddit is just a really cool app and just a community as a whole. Heads up, I don't know if the audio is catching this, but they're doing some construction, I guess in the complex, or I don't know, and it's been going on all morning. So if you hear it, my apologies in advance. The second resource that I used and still use to this day as well are podcasts. So one of my favorites, not very long episodes, is the Spivey Consulting podcast. Now, if you are in the process, you've probably heard of Spivey Consulting. You've probably heard of consulting in general. But what Spivey does is they make podcasts. They talk to current law students. They talk to law school admissions counselors, and they give cycle updates. So it's a great tool to use and to pretty much throughout your cycle, and any news that happens, you can pretty much count on Spivey to relay you that information. Another podcast that I listened to and still listen to is Thinking LSAT. Thinking LSAT also gives law school application cycle news on top of helpful advice. It is provided by an LSAT service known as LSAT Demon. I personally have never used the service. I will tell you, based off their podcast, I don't know if I would really like their abrasive teaching. Me personally, I don't learn best when you're being super abrasive with me. I'm not a huge fan of their personal statement advice that they give on the podcast, mainly because the personal statements that they use didn't pertain to my story or my actual background. Also because like I said, they're pretty abrasive, mainly in the way that they tell you how you should write your personal statement. Sometimes they can be a bit rude. I personally don't appreciate it. I feel like, you know, there are novices in this cycle. You don't need to be kind of mean about it. Seven Sage also provides a podcast. Now, if you are currently on your study journey or have just finished your study journey, you've probably heard of Seven Sage. I've actually backed Seven Sage in one of my LSAT resources video. Please check that out for more information. But Seven Sage, for me, their podcasts are pretty helpful. They also talk to admissions counselors like the Spivey podcast does. They also go over LSAT problem. And those are the three podcasts that I listened to during my journey, and they're extremely helpful for me, especially when it came down to talking about admissions and talking about law school cycle news. I live by those podcasts, so please check them out. So some study resources that are essentially free. and who are just starting out the process. If you're just now getting versed in the LSAT process, I highly recommend Khan Academy. They provide practice tests and some modules for you, so you could just get a feel of what the test is going to be like. Khan also uses the same interface as what is going to be used on test day, so it'll give you some experience with that and what that will look like for you as well. I personally would say Khan is supplemental. I don't recommend people relying on Khan to study for the LSAT, mainly because their resources are limited, and I don't think they do the best job in, I guess, explaining questions and providing all the resources you can have during the process. But I will say Khan Academy is a great supplemental tool, and it's one of those tools that I used when I first submerged myself in the LSAT process. The actual LSAT website provides awesome tools and kind of tells you what the process is like. I also found this amazing PDF, link in description below, which pretty much gives you that whole LSAT process, what it looks like, the whole entire law school application process and what it looks like in a step-by-step basis. So check that out as well. Blueprint, if you are currently in the studying process, you may have heard of Blueprint. I've actually, kind of messed with Blueprint. I personally didn't latch onto it very well. I stand by Kaplan and 7 Sage mostly if you're going to pick a study resource. But Blueprint's pretty neat, and they offer some crazy awesome free study materials. One of which is question type flashcards. Link is below as well for that stuff. So if you're, again, just getting versed into the LSAT process, these are all pretty neat study materials and they're essentially free. So please check them out. And they're also things that I used when I first immersed myself in the process and started to understand what the process really is like and what I needed to do to get my application in order. I also want to mention, a little pat on the back here, my 6-month study schedule. I think that would be a great resource for y'all. If you're someone that is just now getting into the process and don't know what a study schedule should look like, or if you're someone that already has a study schedule and maybe needs some tweaks to yours, please check that out. I made a video about it, and I also have a link attached to that video with my study schedule on it, and you guys are free to download it. It is pretty helpful. I am as descriptive as I can possibly be, and it's based off of a 6-month, 20 an hour week process. Last but not least is Undergrad Resources. So if you are looking to go to law school right now, you're either currently an undergrad or you graduated. So why not use the resources that they provide? Now, every institution is different and not every institution offers the same things. But I will say the resources that I use, I definitely used my pre-law society resources. I talked to my pre-law advisor about personal statements, about my goals for law school. Again, take that with a grain of salt, because some pre-law advisors, God bless them, as we say down south, but they're not always the best when it comes to recommending what your goals should be. So just take what they say with a grain of salt when it comes to that. Most undergrads provide a writing studio or some type of resource for students to have their essays checked and peer reviewed. Georgia State offers that, and alumni have access to it no matter how long ago they graduated. They review resumes, they review personal statements. I actually use mine to review my personal statement for a content type of thing. Now you have to remember, a lot of these are English majors. Some of them have no intention. Some of them have no intention of, I don't know if y'all heard that or not, but it was a loud boom with the construction. Some of them have no intention of going to law school, so they don't necessarily know what a personal statement should look like, but I definitely would use them for any grammatical or semantical, if that's a word, errors, or mechanical, let's do that. Mechanical and grammatical errors, definitely go to the writing studio. It'll just clean up your essay. I definitely will go to my pre-law advisor regarding the content of your personal statement. They are better equipped to understanding what a personal statement should look like, since many pre-law advisors were at some point in law school or an admissions counselor for law school. In some regard, they have law school experience. Those are the best ones in regards to content for your personal statement, to your character and fitness essays, to your addendums. They'll definitely tell you what they should look like, how long they should be. But you can always go back to one of my videos in which I talk about the structure of these things. You can check that out as well. If you have graduated undergrad, say maybe last year or even a while ago, based off of the institution, you should be able to have some type of resource or access to those resources. I would definitely reach out to the alumni office of your school to find out what those resources are and what you can use. That is all, fam. I hope you guys enjoyed the content of this video. I hope it was helpful. If it was and you want to see more videos like it, please like, comment, and subscribe. Click that bell to get notified for any of my new videos that do drop. I will be dropping a video next week for y'all to view, hopefully. Also, please check out my TikTok. Personal TikTok is, you know, I make some jokes here and there. And also my LSAT TikTok. I go over LSAT problems for y'all to view, usually in 2 parts, not very long. And I pretty much go over the problem with y'all. And as always, I have to end things off with a quote. In the words of Toni Morrison, one of my favorite authors, "You are your best thing." Peace, guys.